My wife gave my executive vice president's office to the new intern, Leo Vance. Leo posted a picture from inside the office on his Instagram. The caption read, "Thank you, Ms. Reed, for your trust and mentorship. I'll work hard to live up to your expectations." My assistant texted me the screenshot. In the photo, the entire layout of the office had been changed. All of my awards were gone. I forwarded the image directly to Sophia. "What is the meaning of this, Sophia? Why is an intern in my private office?" She sent back a voice message, her words slurring slightly. "Honey, it's just an office. It's not like you're using it right now anyway. I want to see my office restored to its original state. You have 10 minutes. Sophia didn't reply. 2 minutes later, Reed Industries' most critical contract was unilaterally terminated. If someone wanted to challenge my authority, I had no problem running her company into the ground. My phone blew up with back-to-back calls from Sophia. I let it go to voicemail 4 times before finally answering on the 5th. Her furious voice erupted from the speaker. "Ethan Cole, have you lost your mind? That was a $200 million project. You know the product launch is next week. Halting it now is going to destroy the company. Is this really about an office? Are you serious?" In 5 years of marriage, this was the first time she had ever yelled at me over another man. I took a slow sip of my whiskey, feeling the cool liquid slide down my throat, a chill spreading through my chest. This isn't about the office. Sophia, restore my office to exactly how it was, including every one of my awards in its precise location. If you don't, the company will lose a lot more than one contract. The other end of the line went silent for a few seconds. "You have 5 minutes left," I said, my voice cold, and hung up the phone. 2 minutes later, she sent me a photo. The office was back to normal, everything in its original place. As soon as I received the picture, I contacted the project lead and rescinded the termination order. Then I sent Sophia a photo of my own. It was a picture of her home office completely emptied out. Everything was gone, including the priceless antique she had just won at auction, her favorite piece. I followed it with a second photo, the same antique shattered into a million pieces on the floor. "This is your punishment, Sophia. You know my temper. Don't let it happen again." She didn't respond. I knew she was furious, but I was furious. Our marriage began as a strategic alliance. 5 years ago, she needed Cole International's distribution channels in the European market, and I needed Reed Industries' manufacturing base in the States. A business marriage was a natural fit. There was no grand romance, only the mutual benefit of a rational choice. "Ethan," she had said before our wedding, holding my hands and looking at me with sincere, determined eyes, "we won't just be business partners. As your wife, I will always trust and respect you." "I appreciate your candor, Ms. Reed," I'd replied with a smile. "I look forward to a productive partnership." Over 5 years, we went from strangers to partners, from respect to reliance. And then, slowly, affection began to grow. We'd spent countless nights leaning on each other after exhausting corporate dinners. This year, we finally had a baby. He was the ultimate symbol of our love, and he made me believe our bond was unbreakable. But now, the arrival of Leo Vance had shattered the trust and understanding we had built. Sophia didn't come home that night. I knew it was her way of protesting, of showing me her anger. The next morning, I unwrapped the bandage from my leg and went straight to the office. The employees in the lobby did a double take when they saw me, then quickly lowered their heads in greeting. "Mr. Cole, I thought you were still recovering from your injury. What brings you in today?" the young woman at the reception desk asked with concern. "There are some things I need to handle myself." I gave her a slight nod and headed for the executive floor. The moment the elevator doors opened, I heard laughter coming from Sophia's office. Through the partially open door, I saw Leo Vance sitting next to her. Sophia's eyes were full of warmth, a stark contrast to the cold, professional demeanor she showed every other assistant. Normally, she never allowed anyone but me to sit in her office for long, let alone look at someone with such a gentle expression. But now, she and Leo were sitting so close there was barely any space between them, deep in conversation. Leo was wearing a high-end designer suit. It was a style I had pointed out to her before, one she had mentioned getting for me. The suit wasn't just expensive. It was a custom Brioni, one of only 5 made globally. And now it was on Intern. I pushed the door open. The laughter died instantly. The smile on Sophia's face froze. "What are you doing here?" Leo shot to his feet, a look of manufactured respect on his face as he greeted me in a soft voice. "Mr. Cole, I heard you just had surgery. You should be resting at home. Why did you suddenly come into the office?" I let out a cold laugh. "Who gave you permission to comment on my personal affairs? And who the hell hired an intern with no sense of professional boundaries?" The smile on Leo's face stiffened, his mouth hanging open. "Now," I said, my voice dropping, "take off that suit." The temperature in the room plummeted. Leo's eyes widened, his lips trembling in disbelief. He looked to Sophia, his eyes pleading for help. I turned to her as well, my gaze like ice. "Explain to me why my suit is on him." Sophia's brow furrowed in annoyance. Leo was getting a lot of grief from colleagues because of the office situation yesterday, so I wanted to compensate him. "It's just a suit, Ethan. I'll buy you a better one." "Compensate him?" I sneered. "This suit may not be a big deal to us, but it's a globally limited edition, custom-tailored piece. What makes him think he's worthy of wearing it? Besides, what happened yesterday was his own damn fault for not knowing his place." "Sophia, have you forgotten your own place? Have you forgotten who I am? Who gave you the right to give away what's mine?" My words left Leo pale and shaken. He stammered, "I'm sorry, Mr. Cole. I didn't know this suit was yours." "You know now, so take it off." Seeing that I wouldn't let it go, Sophia's patience snapped. "Ethan, don't take this too far. We have a project meeting to get to. Stop making a scene." My heart sank. She had never raised her voice to me in the office. Now she was breaking her own rule for him. Seeing Sophia defend him, Leo subtly relaxed. "Project? What project?" "The Sterling Corp. Partnership." "Leo and I are heading out now," Sophia said, tugging at her sleeve impatiently. "Mr. Vance was a huge help in securing this, so I'm bringing him to the negotiations." I raised an eyebrow and laughed with pure ridicule. "Oh, I had no idea an intern had that much pull, influencing the decisions of a publicly traded company." Sophia's face darkened. She grabbed her purse and motioned for Leo to follow. "Let's go. We're running late." As they walked past me, Leo shot me a triumphant, provocative smirk. "You brought this on yourself, Sophia. Since you insist on protecting him, don't blame me for what comes next." After they left, I pulled out my phone and dialed the personal number of the chairman of Sterling Corp. "Mr. Sterling, it's Ethan Cole. About that meeting Sophia Reed is on her way." An hour later, Sophia called me. She was livid, her voice practically a roar. "Ethan, what the hell are you trying to do?" Mr. Sterling not only publicly humiliated Leo, calling him a boy toy who slept his way to the top, he also said Reed Industries was built on your back, and that I was an ungrateful tramp for finding another man the second you were out recovering. "You put him up to this, didn't you?" I laughed softly. "Sophia, I can't control what other people think or say. People have eyes. They can judge right from wrong for themselves." Leo walked out in tears, and the deal is dead. "Are you happy now?" "Happy? I'm ecstatic. You both had it coming." After hanging up, the fire in my chest cooled slightly. A message came in from my assistant. The news about Leo had already spread through the entire company. When he returned to the office, he was met with whispers and pointed fingers. Some employees openly called him shameless and accused him of using dirty tricks to get ahead. Someone had thrown everything from his desk into the trash. He frantically tried to defend himself, shouting that he wasn't that kind of person, but no one listened. Who in their right mind would side with an intern against the executive VP? Everyone was kicking him while he was down. I'd seen this 1,000 times. It was a classic case of poetic justice. He was an intern with no background and no real skills who thought he could ride Sophia's coattails to the top. What a joke. Humiliated, Leo Vance submitted his resignation. Since he was never officially hired, HR approved it in seconds. He had no one to blame but himself for not knowing his place and for coveting things and people that were not his. When Sophia returned from her disastrous meeting, having barely salvaged the relationship with Sterling Corp, she found Leo gone. Her face was a thundercloud. She came home late that night to find me rocking our son, Noah, to sleep. His chubby cheeks and the shape of his nose and eyes were just like hers. She stood in the doorway of a nursery, her expression dark, but she kept her voice low. "Leo did nothing wrong. He's just a hardworking kid, and now, because of you, he's lost his job and his reputation is ruined. Ethan, even your temper tantrums have to have a limit. I held a finger to my lips, signaling for her to be quiet, and gently laid our sleeping son in his crib. After closing the door behind me, I finally spoke. Sophia, I'll say it again. I had nothing to do with him getting bullied or resigning. Even though I told myself it didn't matter, the anger and distrust in her eyes still sent a pang through my chest. Ask yourself, how many of your own rules have you broken for that kid? It was your approval, your indulgence, that gave him the wrong idea. There is nothing going on between me and Leo. Sophia shot back, her voice trembling with emotion. Nothing? Then why did you give him something that was meant for me? Why did you let him move into your personal office? Don't forget, your last assistant wasn't even allowed to bring a chair into your office for a temporary briefing. But now you're breaking every rule for Leo. You're even looking at your own husband with daggers in your eyes for him. I stepped closer, towering over her, and said, enunciating every word, Sophia, I admit, I love you. Otherwise, I never would have married you, never would have had a child with you. But you also know that I have zero tolerance for betrayal or deceit. Not even a hint of it. If you dare cross that line, even with an emotional affair or some back-alley flirtation, I will have no problem finding my son a new mother. Sophia's face turned ashen. She spun around and stormed into the guest bedroom. But I knew this round was over. She would go to the guest room to cool off, and by morning, we would move on. It was the unspoken agreement we'd used to manage our marriage for the last 5 years. The difference was all our previous conflicts had been about business or family. This was the first and the last time it would be about another man. The next morning, Sophia's phone rang. Leo's name flashed on the screen. She hesitated for a moment before answering. His choked-up voice came through the speaker. Ms. Reed, I don't know what to do. Slow down, Leo. What happened? Sophia said gently, her brow furrowed. I'm being harassed online. My picture is everywhere, and people are calling me a gold digger, a boy toy who sleeps his way to the top. I'm so scared. I can't even leave my apartment. His voice trembled with fear and helplessness, punctuated by faint sobs. Sophia's expression turned venomous. She looked at me, her eyes blazing. Don't panic. Stay right where you are. I'll handle this. Word had already spread through our social circles that Leo had crossed me. Even without my instruction, our business partners would take it upon themselves to do things like this to curry favor. I had seen the online chatter that morning. It wasn't nearly as bad as he was making it out to be, but I had to admit, his damsel in distress act was effective. He had successfully triggered Sophia's protective instincts. The moment she hung up the phone, her rage exploded. She slammed her phone down on the table, her eyes red as she confronted me. Ethan, what is your problem? Leo is out of the company, out of our lives. Why are you still going after him? When did you become so vicious, abusing your power as my husband to ruin an innocent person's life? I slammed my own coffee mug down on the table, refusing to back down. I told you, Sophia, I didn't do anything. The entire company knows he got on your bad side. Who else would do this? Please, I scoffed. In all these years, when have you ever known me to do something and not admit to it? You keep questioning me again and again for a damn intern. I think you're the one who's lost her mind over him. Sophia stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I calmly wiped my mouth, watching her leave, a deep sense of disappointment washing over me. That afternoon, I was scrolling through social media when I noticed that all the negative posts about Leo Vance had vanished. In their place was an official statement from Reed Industries. The statement praised Leo's outstanding abilities and claimed he had earned his position at the company through merit alone. It declared that Reed Industries would not tolerate malicious slander against its employees and would pursue legal action against any false rumors online. My phone lit up with a new text from my assistant. Mr. Cole, Ms. Reed not only had the legal department issue a statement, but she also just publicly announced that Leo Vance will be returning to the company as her chief of staff, effective immediately. She said anyone caught spreading rumors will be fired on the spot. The whole office is buzzing. Everyone thinks there's something going on between them. The message felt like a punch to the gut. A moment later, my assistant sent another screenshot. It was a new post from Leo on Facebook. The storm has passed. True gold fears no fire, and my hard work has been recognized. Thank you, Ms. Reed, for believing in my abilities. I look forward to supporting you and will not betray this trust." The accompanying photo was of his new employment contract. He had been rehired as chief of staff to the CEO of Reed Industries, with a salary on par with a vice president. I looked at that sickeningly cheerful post, slammed my phone on the desk, and saw red. A short while later, Sophia came home to grab some files, not even sparing me a glance. She walked straight upstairs, got what she needed from her office, and was about to leave. I tapped my fingers on the coffee table, stopping her in her tracks. "Sophia, what is the meaning of this?" She stopped and turned, her eyes cold. "Leo is a hard-working employee who was targeted and driven out of the company for no reason, all because of you. Then he was cyberbullied. I am simply correcting a mistake that you made. This is what he deserves. And what if I demand you fire him? Then you can try. I tolerated your behavior before out of respect for our marriage. I let you abuse your power and hurt other people, but I'm done with it. This time, I will not sacrifice Leo, and I will not let you run wild anymore." Sophia turned and left, the slam of the door echoing through the villa. In that moment, I lost all hope for her. Our 5-year marriage, a partnership we had built together, was cracking apart because of a man who had shown up less than a month ago. I sat on the sofa, anger and disappointment warring within me. The glass in my hand shattered from the pressure, and blood trickled down my palm. I forced myself to calm down. If she was determined to stand with him, then she couldn't blame me for being ruthless. "Sophia, you will pay for what you've done today." Once the decision was made, I picked up my phone and called my personal attorney, David Shun. "David, I need you to draw up divorce papers immediately. Make sure the asset division is clean. I want every penny accounted for." David was stunned by my sudden decision. He asked cautiously, "Mr. Cole, are you serious? This is a major step." "Immediately. I want the papers on my desk in 3 days." "Okay, I understand. And, Ms. Reed, don't inform her. This is my decision." After hanging up, I opened my laptop and pulled up every file related to Cole International's business with Reed Industries. Over 5 years of marriage, I had given her company countless resources and advantages. It was time to take them all back. I sent a direct order to Cole International's overseas headquarters. Notify all partners that we are pausing all joint projects with Reed Industries, effective immediately. Cite technical recalibration as the reason. "Yes, Mr. Cole," came the crisp reply. No questions asked. Absolute obedience. That was how we operated. Next were the core tech teams Cole International had embedded within her company. I instructed HR to poach every single one of them, offering double their current salaries to return to us. These moves quickly caught my father's attention. His call came soon after. I answered and cut straight to the point. "Dad, I've decided to divorce Sophia." There was a brief silence on the other end before my father's steady voice replied. "Have you thought this through?" "Completely." "All right, I want to ask why." "Your mother and I trust you, and we support your decision. Once you've decided, don't hesitate. The Coles don't drag things out." Within 2 days, I had quietly withdrawn everything. I moved all the funds from our joint personal accounts, ensuring Sophia could no longer touch them, and she remained completely oblivious. During this time, Leo's social media was more active than ever. He posted daily photos of himself accompanying Sophia to business events. A new car, a new watch, a new office, always with the caption, "Grateful for Ms. Reed's guidance." I glanced at his profile once on the first day, then blocked him. I had no time for trash. Instead, I poured all my energy into planning my new ventures. Suddenly, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Sophia's name. "Ethan, it's my dad's birthday today. He wants us to come to the house." Her voice was cold and distant. "If you don't want to go, I'll go by myself." I glanced at the divorce papers sitting on my desk, and a small smile touched my lips. "I'll be there." It was time to end this. At 7 o'clock that evening, I drove my Maybach through the gates of the Reed family estate in Greenwich. The house and grounds were brightly lit, and I could hear the faint sound of laughter. Sophia's parents and a few relatives were standing at the door to greet guests. When they saw me get out of the car alone, a flash of surprise crossed their faces. "Ethan, dear, where's Sophia?" her mother asked. I couldn't blame them for being surprised. In 5 years of marriage, we had never arrived separately. She said she's on her way. They welcomed me warmly into the house, and the butler personally brought me a glass of Macallan 18. I sat on the sofa, took the glass, and sipped it calmly. Half an hour later, the front door opened again. Sophia had finally arrived. But to everyone's shock, Leo Vance was trailing right behind her. Her father immediately recognized the impropriety of the situation. His face hardened, a flash of anger in his eyes. "Sophia, this is a family dinner. Why did you bring an outsider?" "Dad, Leo is my chief of staff. We just finished up with some work, so I brought him along." "This is a family celebration, not a business meeting." Her father's voice rose. "Send him home." Leo's face fell, and he shot a wounded look at Sophia. It worked like a charm. She immediately jumped to his defense. "Dad, Leo is an essential part of my team. He's been working so hard he hasn't even eaten. Just let him stay." Seeing his daughter so clueless, her father grew even angrier. "Has Ethan ever brought his assistant here? No matter how busy he is, this is our home, not your company happy hour." "Alfred," he called to the butler, "show this man out." The butler hesitated, caught in the middle of the family conflict. Leo stood behind Sophia, but his eyes kept darting toward me, a smug, challenging smirk playing on his lips. This whole farce had exhausted my patience. "That won't be necessary." My cold voice cut through their argument. I pulled a folder from my jacket and laid on a coffee table for everyone to see. "I came today for this." When they saw the bold letters on the cover, "Divorce Agreement," the entire room fell silent. The color drained from Sophia's face. Her purse slipped from her hand and hit the floor with a dull thud. Her voice trembled as she confronted me. "Ethan, you want a divorce. Have you lost your mind?" My gaze shifted from her to Leo and back to her again. "I'm perfectly sane, more sane than I've ever been." Sophia's parents rushed forward, trying to mediate. "Ethan, let's talk about this. If there's a misunderstanding, we can work it out. Don't be impulsive. There's nothing left to talk about. My mind is made up. I won't sign it." Sophia suddenly screamed, her eyes turning red. "You're divorcing me because I made Leo my chief of staff." "Sophia, you know exactly why we're here." I stared directly into her eyes and said, word by word, "I warned you. I gave you a chance. I don't give second chances. I made an exception for you, and you threw it back in my face. You chose to stand with this boy toy and disrespect me, so don't blame me for the consequences." The room erupted in shocked whispers. Sophia stood frozen, refusing to sign. Her mother grabbed my arm, her voice pleading. "Ethan, please calm down. Let's just discuss this calmly. Don't do anything rash." I politely but firmly pulled my arm away. "Ma'am, my decision is final. There is no turning back. Sophia, you can refuse to sign. If you do, I'll see you in court." With that, I turned and walked out, leaving the disastrous party behind me. Standing before the floor-to-ceiling windows of my office, looking out over the city, I felt a sense of relief I hadn't felt in years. My assistant, Mark, entered the office with a new report. "Mr. Cole, another 30 of Reed Industries' core employees submitted their applications to us today," he said, his voice brimming with excitement. "So far, we've successfully poached over 100 of their key technical staff. Reed stock hit limit down at the opening bell today. That's the 5th consecutive day. Furthermore, several of their major projects have been halted due to the brain drain. Rumors are already circulating that the company is on the verge of bankruptcy." I nodded slowly. This was all going according to plan. Without the support of Cole International, without its core technology and talent, Reed Industries was a fish out of water, gasping for its last breaths. "Oh, and one more thing, Mr. Cole," Mark said, a grin spreading across his face. Apparently, Leo Vance made a grand speech at a Reed executive meeting, proposing a pivot into the tech sector. The project failed spectacularly right after launch. From what I hear, it's absolute chaos over there now. I let out a cold laugh. He's a liberal arts major trying to direct a team of engineers. The arrogance is astounding. It was the predictable outcome. Leo Vance was an empty suit with a pretty face, possessing no real talent or business acumen. Sophia had been blinded, entrusting her company's future to a man like that. The phone on my desk lit up. Another call from Sophia. It was the 15th missed call from her today. I added her number to my block list. I had no interest in her explanations or apologies, and even less in how she was doing now. I heard that after the stock continued to plummet and projects fell apart, she finally came to her senses and fired Leo. But it was too late. Reed Industries was crippled, its market value nearly cut in half. That afternoon, security called my office. "Mr. Cole, a Miss Sophia Reed is in the lobby demanding to see you." "I'm not seeing her. She says she won't leave until she does," the guard said, his tone apologetic. "Then let her stand there. Have someone keep an eye on her and make sure she doesn't cause a scene." I hung up and returned to my work. Did she still not get it? It was over. That night, Mark sent me a text. Sophia had stood in the lobby for 2 hours before security finally escorted her out. The next day, security called again. This time, it was her father. I thought for a moment, then nodded and had Mark bring him up. After all, her parents had always been good to me. Mr. Reed looked exhausted, his eyes bloodshot. He got straight to the point. "Ethan, I know Sophia made a terrible mistake, but she realizes it now. Can you find in your heart to give her another chance?" His voice was pleading, his eyes filled with hope. "Mr. Reed, I respect you, but this is beyond repair. I know what she did was wrong, but she understands that now. For the sake of the years you had together." I cut him off. "Sir, you know as well as I do that some mistakes can't be undone. She's already fired Leo Vance. She's filled with regret." "This isn't about firing Leo," I said. "Sophia didn't just disrespect me. She betrayed our entire relationship. I have zero tolerance for that kind of disloyalty. There's no future for us. And if she doesn't sign those papers soon, I will continue to dismantle her company until there is nothing left." Mr. Reed's face fell. "I understand. I'll talk to her about signing. I will raise our son. The Reeds are welcome to visit him anytime." I felt for the old man, but I wouldn't compromise my principles. I wanted nothing more to do with Sophia Reed. He let out a heavy sigh, nodded, and walked out of my office with slumped shoulders. 3 days later, the signed divorce agreement was on my desk. Night fell. I finished the last of my work and prepared to leave the office. As I walked out of the building, a disheveled figure caught my eye. Leo Vance was being held between 2 security guards, his clothes torn, his hair a mess. When he saw me, he began to struggle violently, nearly breaking free. "Ethan Cole," he screamed, "this is all your fault. You ruined my career. You ruined my life." I stopped a safe distance away and looked down on him. "Mr. Vance, you seem to be confused about something. You were fired because you were incompetent. Your brilliant strategies were just plagiarized garbage you found online, full of holes." Leo's face flushed with rage, his eyes burning with a hatred fueled by my words. I continued, my voice calm and cutting. "You only became chief of staff by playing the victim and manipulating Sophia's sympathy. You are nothing but a pretty boy who gets ahead by charming women. That's all you'll ever be. You bullied your subordinates and took kickbacks, and no one dared to say a word because you were hiding behind Sophia's protection, weren't you? Do you know what you are to me? You're less than nothing. A parasite who sells himself to get ahead. You're worse than garbage." The color drained from Leo's face. I had struck a nerve. With a sudden burst of strength, he broke free from the guards and lunged at me. "Shut up! I'll kill you." I didn't move an inch. Just as he was about to reach me, the guards tackled him and pinned him to the ground. I walked over and pressed my shoe down on his hand. "Leo, if you ever show your face in front of me again, I will make you wish you were never born. Ending you would be easier than crushing an ant. You had better pray we never cross paths again." Leo completely broke down, screaming hysterically. "You'll get what's coming to you, Cole. I'll kill you." The guards covered his mouth and dragged him away. That night, an anonymous account posted compromising photos of Leo Vance from his time working at an upscale escort service. In the pictures, he was fawning over several wealthy, older women, pouring them drinks. Soon after, security footage of him shoplifting and chat logs of him conning an ex-girlfriend out of money in college were all leaked online. I hadn't ordered any of it, but there were plenty of people eager to get on my good side. Those who wanted a piece of Cole International's business took care of it themselves. Mr. Reed used his influence to have Leo blacklisted from the industry, leaving him with nowhere to turn. In the end, Leo had no choice but to return to his old profession at the escort club. I heard that less than a month later, he was dead from a drug overdose. As for me, in the 6 months following the divorce, I closed 3 major deals. The company's stock price doubled, and my career soared. Forbes magazine even named me their Entrepreneur of the Year. With her father's help, Sophia began the long, arduous process of rebuilding Reed Industries. I'd see her occasionally in the business news. The sharp, confident edge in her eyes was gone, replaced by a weary hardness. 3 years flew by in the blink of an eye. My company was now the undisputed leader in its sector, and as a single, powerful CEO, I had no shortage of female attention. But my focus remained on two things: my business and my son, Noah. I had no interest in another relationship. Noah was 4 years old now, bright, energetic, and with a smile that was all mine. After the divorce, I dedicated most of my time to him, picking him up from preschool every day myself. I even had a small corner of my office converted into a play area, filled with his toys and drawings, so he could come by whenever he wanted. "Daddy, when is Mommy coming to see me?" Noah asked one day, his eyes wide with anticipation. I checked the calendar on my phone. "Your birthday is the day after tomorrow. I'm sure Mommy will be here with a present." According to our divorce agreement, Sophia was allowed to see our son twice a month for no more than 3 hours per visit. In 3 years, she had never missed a single one. No matter how busy she was, she always showed up on time with a carefully chosen gift, try her best to make up for what she had lost. Although I still harbored resentment toward her, I never stood in the way of her relationship with our son. I wanted him to have a healthy upbringing. Over the last 3 years, Reed Industries had slowly gotten back on its feet under Sophia's leadership. It wasn't the powerhouse it once was, but it was stable. We sometimes crossed paths at industry events, exchanging a brief, professional nod. Nothing more. On Noah's 4th birthday, I threw a small party at the house, inviting a few of his friends. In the afternoon, the doorbell rang. I opened to find Sophia standing there, holding a massive, brightly wrapped box. "His birthday present," she said softly. I took the gift and nodded. "I'll be back in 3 hours." Sophia nodded back, her eyes full of a familiar longing as she watched me leave. Over the past 3 years, she had tried multiple times, in various ways, to hint at a reconciliation. At business functions, she would deliberately bring up fond memories we once shared. After her visits with Noah, she would linger for a few extra minutes, trying to make small talk. She even had mutual friends pass along messages, telling me she still loved me and wanted to start over. I rejected every attempt. Some things, once broken, can never be put back together. My life now was complete. A thriving business, a happy, healthy son, and a sense of peace. Compared to my past marriage, I was finally free,